Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to Expedition Cartoon, where my brother and I explore the vast and beautiful worlds of animation for the perfect place to call home.
Yes.
And this is a big deal right now because, wait a second, we're remixing a little, Lou.
Yeah, remix sound effect. I'm doing it myself. I know we could do it. No, I'm doing it.
Okay. I think that was way better than any sound effect that I could have placed.
That's what I'm saying.
If you are listening to the audio, you don't know what's going on right now because you have been listening to the audio. You've been listening to Expedition Cartoon as a podcast, but things are looking a little bit different because our podcast is now being brought to you from YouTube, the Jester Bros Cartoon Theater account that Lou and I started so many years ago. We're back.
Yes, I'm so excited, dude. This is so lit. Yeah, so also asterisk with the title, because for YouTube it's going to be called
Jester Brothers Cartoon Travelers.
Woo!
And probably for audio too. I think that we are rebranding. We are bringing the Jester Bros back to the big screen, just like it was always meant to be. How about a film projector sound effect? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So for people who are just dropping in for the YouTube for the first time, this was a podcast that we've had running not on YouTube for a while, Spotify, Apple things. So if you want to get caught up, you could still listen to the audio on those. We might end up uploading it for members only one day. So I guess let us know in the comments if you don't want to do any other platform and you want us to do that. But for now, you could just check that out wherever you could find podcasts. And you want to tell them what the kind of the premise of this whole deal is?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that we're bringing this to YouTube is because we had a lot of people express, I feel like YouTube is where I like to see you guys. I think maybe some people were sad that I left YouTube, and frankly, I missed it. Already the energy is different, even though the podcast has always had a great energy, and it's maybe the proudest we've ever been about any content that we've ever made.
Totally.
I like the camera, Lou. I missed YouTube. I miss the people watching.
Yeah, we got these clean overlays too. Ooh.
I know. I gotta say, things are looking fresh. Things are looking fancy. And if you are joining us for the very first time, this is a podcast where we explore different cartoon worlds. All of you viewers, you are on a ship with us. And we have decided to name it after many episodes and some back and forth.
Yeah.
The Animachine.
That's right. I remembered that.
The Animachine is a ship that has the power to turn us into whatever we need to be to fit the different animated worlds that we are going to be visiting across this project.
Yes. So we are going to travel through and explore and choose where we would want to live in the whole scheme of animation, the whole universe, the whole animated multiverse. There we go.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be maybe even more fun on YouTube because the comments, it's so much easier for you all to respond after you hear what's going on. Like, if you're watching this on YouTube, right now, you might think to yourself, this is a cartoon world that I would like to explore, which, by the way, go ahead and drop it in the comments.
Now you can let us know. Not that we also have a Discord if you want to join the Discord. Now's a good time for the plugs. Like and subscribe. Like the video and let us know that you're happy that this is on the channel and that we're doing this. And yeah. Become a member.
And let me also say that, from the beginning, I loved the idea of a community podcast where all of the listeners or the viewers could be a part of it and they could pick what cartoon world that they want to live in alongside us as we travel through.
Yeah.
And I felt like the audio only format was limiting in that way because people could go to Discord, and I tried to do some stuff with that. And by all means, join the Discord if you would like. It has a lot of great cartoon fans.
It is an extra step, though.
Yeah, but it's an extra step, right? So now if we're watching on YouTube, or even if you're a listener and you now would have YouTube as your preferred platform, we're going to do it this way. And I think it is going to be a lot of fun. And if you're listening to the audio, by the way, if it wasn't clear to you, we're not just dropping the podcast track. You can see our faces. How cool is that?
Yeah. So if you want to look at our sexy mugs, then hop on over to the YouTube channel. And if you don't care, then that's also totally fine.
That's right. Well, this is a lot about what our podcast is about, but now it's time for us to actually do it because we're going to be talking about Dead End Paranormal Park today.
Yes. And I just wanted to say, because I thought of this as soon as we hit the record button, isn't it funny that we're starting at Dead End? Like, that's the first YouTube episode. The beginning is Dead End. That just seems like weirdly, it just makes sense. And
Wow.
I have this book, which is the God, the light glare. It's the final chapter of Dead End Paranormal Park. So if you're familiar with the show, it had 2 seasons on Netflix and got tragically canceled. But the creator, Hamish Steele, who we interviewed on the channel, you could go check that out as well, which was amazing. He's a lovely human being, and this is a phenomenal story. I finished it today, and we'll be talking about it. I'm going to probably not try to spoil anything because you should go buy this. Go support this creator. It's a fantastic graphic novel series. Get all of them because you can't just watch the first 2 seasons and then see the third because there are little changes. I mean, maybe you could, but I recommend getting all of the graphic novels. So there's my little plug for Hamish. Hamish, if you're watching this, much love. We love you, man.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate, the kindness of you showing up for the interview. And I just want to tell people that if you were sad that Dead End got canceled, you should absolutely be reading this 3rd graphic novel because it will tie up a lot of the loose ends that you were hoping to have tied up. But we are not going to spoil any of that for you today. We want people to buy the book.
I'm going to spoil one thing because this made me tear up. The forward dedication thing, you can see that. It says for anyone who had their ever I can read anyone who has ever had their favorite TV show canceled.
Oh, that hits deep.
And I just thought that was so sweet. And guys, it's a lovely story. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And so I'm stoked to be talking about it today.
Me too. Part of the rules of the Animachine, and another reason that we can't spoil, even if we wanted to, is that this ship can only traverse animation.
Yes.
So a lot of the time there's spin-off content related to your favorite things, or something that was, I don't know, could have been live action. For example, Neverland has been done a ton of different times in different ways, but we were only able to access the animated world for that Disney Peter Pan film.
Yeah.
So we're only able to get into these first 2 seasons of the Dead End animation.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we're going to be getting into today.
Yeah.
So
well, I will say, not a spoiler, but the 3rd book does change a lot of how I theoretically would have approached this. But that won't be coming into play. So we're just going to ignore that. But it's going to bother me.
And I have the utmost confidence that you won't be able to say anything about that.
Yeah, me too. Ha ha ha.
All right, everybody. Well, it's time for the ship to take off. And in the past, I had Lou doing the sound effects, but we have a soundboard now, and I'm not going to squander that. Oh, darn it. Well, I guess that we're going to have to get that too. Oh, yeah. There we are. It's like hyperspace in Star Wars.
That's pretty fun.
It'll be good. All right, here we are. Lou, it's Dead End Paranormal Park. Wow. What are we seeing around us?
A lot of Pauline Phoenix, first of all. Yeah, I mean, we should probably just start right in the amusement park itself, huh?
Yeah, I think that's the move. Anytime we move into one of these worlds, we have the ability to not just be in the main spot, right? People know Dead End for the theme park. We can pretty much explore anywhere that the world goes to, which will also include, I believe, several different planes of existence.
Yes, I'm gonna pull up the number because I don't want to accidentally say something that is bad.
Yeah, I have them. 13 planes.
There you go. 13 planes. Lucky number.
That's right. Man, I was gonna try to make a joke about aerospace or Boeing, and then I was like, I better just not.
Here, you better leave Boeing alone. I don't want them coming after us.
Yeah, I think that they've got enough people coming after them right now. All right, so you mentioned Pauline Phoenix. This is a figure of the park. She's the park icon. You could call her the Mickey Mouse of Dead End, but you could also call her the Walt Disney because she sort of employs both roles as a metaphoric figure in this land, right? Where she is kind of this otherworldly figure that is a celebrity that people have held on a pedestal. And this is her park, but she is also the mascot that shows up in different shows. And honestly, it really feels like the type of Walt Disney effect where people are not just interested in what they are creating, they're interested in them as a historic figure.
Yes, very true. And a little bit less like Walt Disney. The park definitely has a lot, because I feel like Walt Disney himself doesn't really have like his likeliness. Like there's one statue of him holding Mickey's hand in the middle of the park in Disneyland. But not a lot of Walt Disney face around, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the difference, is that Pauline is the celebrity and the mascot put together. And I do find that important because the idea of living in a place like this, it is on the table to literally live in this theme park. We need to know, is Pauline Phoenix's presence going to matter? And if you've seen seasons 1 and 2 of the show, not that we're just going to like go full spoilers, I recommend seeing the show if you haven't.
Yeah, it's still on Netflix, as far as I know.
But listen, I might have some reservations about having Pauline Phoenix being potentially around me.
So look, she has a little bit of a sketchy history, but like, don't. At least I do. I was gonna say, don't we all? Okay, maybe you don't, but I do at least. So I can maybe not to the same degree, but I think her character is charming enough. I would not be put off too much by Pauline Phoenix being there.
Sure. And I don't want to gloss over the fact that, the theme park she owns is really what all the focus should be in terms of what Dead End is. I think in the graphic novels, and I don't want to speak out of term, that it's called Dead Endia, and that is in the book also the name of the theme park.
Yes.
Okay, but then in the
I'm like looking at the title.
In the animated show, it's not even actually. Okay, I'm gonna reverse it again. I think it might just be called Phoenix Parks.
I'm pretty sure it's
books.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, so that's the official name. So we are in Phoenix Parks at this point. And then the name of the show is Dead End Paranormal Park, and I'm sure that somebody will be happy to correct me if I got any of that slightly wrong. But the theme park itself, in my opinion, has a lot of very fun theme park parodies. And this matters to me as a former Disney employee who loves all theme park humor, especially when it's done well and is not over the top. I felt like the show nailed this, right?
Yeah.
I have a very, very close attachment to this decision on whether or not I would want to live here, because I have lived in a theme park before, more or less. I didn't live inside its grounds, but I lived in the general area, the city of Orlando, which basically Disney owns. That's too big of a statement, but they do own the town of Celebration.
That's true. That is very weirdly true.
Yeah, I mean, I think own is also complicated, but they founded it at the very least. Yeah. And based on my history with being so integrally part of a theme park, I moved away eventually, even from a place that I very much loved. So going to one that is more of a parody of it, that's a little bit funnier, a little bit goofier, perhaps a little bit more unsafe, a little.
Yeah. Well, I think that depends on. Well, no, that's definitely true. That's definitely true.
It's designed that way, though, right? Like, but I think that what's interesting about it is that despite how alternative it is compared to Disneyland, like it's the alternative version of Disneyland.
Yeah.
Barney finds identity in it, the main character of the show. And so he finds a home there.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because for me, one of the strongest points in the favor of wanting to live here, which again, for YouTube viewers, we in our series have chosen places that we live right now. Where do you live right now?
Me?
And what is your what show did you end up sticking in?
Oh, yes, that's right. I thought you were asking me literally.
No.
At the current moment, I am in the digital world from Digimon, regretting leaving Trollberg from Hilda.
Yes, that's right. Regretting my choice. He's having a mover's remorse. And I am currently living in the Owl House world, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, the Boiling Isles.
Boiling Isles, as a researcher and teacher at the college, which I'm super not regretting. I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I should mention that I'm a Digidestined in the world of Digimon with a Penguinmon partner by my side.
Yes.
And it's dangerous there. And I've always said I'm going to try to avoid the danger, and I had so much nostalgia for Digimon. It was my favorite childhood show that I decided to go anyway.
So funny.
And now I'm being chased by bad guys.
Yeah. So there's two elements that we really want to ask, which is A, would we move there or would we live there at all? And then would we move there from where we're currently at?
Yeah.
And in the favor of moving to Dead End, I think the community that they have there is actually one of the strongest points. Because these people have been brought together through some crazy, rites of passage, let's say. And the love, compassion, and understanding that they have for not just each other, but just for like diversity and stuff, I think is really awesome. And that's one of the biggest points in its favor. Like, I would love to hang out with these people. And that's actually something that's put me off from a lot of the other worlds that we've taken a look at. Because I love the show, I love the whatever, but the people maybe I wouldn't vibe with. I feel like I would be friends with all of these people, for sure. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that is an excellent point. You know, we can consider what role we would play in this place. And that if that ends up being we are friends with Barney, we're friends with Norma, Padya, and Logs, like, I would love to be friends with those guys.
Absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. And not only would I love that, I love amusement parks. Like, I didn't work there or anything, and but if somebody told me that I could live in an amusement park and live my life as I am, but I also live in an amusement park, I would be so unbelievably down immediately. I love roller coasters, I love thrill rides, dark rides, I love the whole thing. Not to mention it's kind of ghostly, and there's an elevator that can take me to 7 rings of heaven and hell, or 6 or whatever the number is. That sounds totally lit to me.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. Because there's the Dead End part, the theme park, and then there's the Paranormal Park part, which adds an entire another layer of complexity. But in terms of just what you see with your own 2 eyes, if you're not looking farther, what many of the guests of this park might see, you know that there is a log flume ride. Who doesn't love a log flume? Coming soon. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, replacing Splash Mountain at Disneyland and Disney World theme parks. You're welcome for that plug.
Wow. I'm actually stoked to see how that's going to be. I'm probably going to watch like one of those ride videos when that comes out.
I'm excited too. We have a tunnel of love. Who doesn't love love?
Well, tunnels of love can be a little yucky, but I won't go any further into that.
Didn't work great for Kipo, which, by the way, we should watch Kipo in the Age of the Wonder Beast at some point for this show.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That was another great... I feel like there was a whole era of, like, really amazing Netflix cartoons that is pretty much over. Not that there aren't still good Netflix cartoons, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World was really good, or whatever they ended up calling it.
Well, we're in a very interesting phase of the animation landscape, and I think that that's something Lou and I may talk about just in its own isolated episode at some point, so stay tuned for that. Wow, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, also a rough tunnel of love. That is just ripe for monsters to attack or to have some kind of weird stuff go on. Just starting to think about it. All right, and that's not even animated.
I have a lot of jokes I could run with that, but I'm gonna put a pin in it for our first YouTube episode.
All right, yeah, because after this, it's off the rails.
Yeah.
Speaking of rails, I don't remember a roller coaster off the top of my head, but oh no, there is, because there's one of the theme songs, so you've got a roller coaster.
All right, just because I thought of it, you said speaking of rails, I still thought you were gonna go with the tunnel of love, and I was.
That's fine. We're bringing it down. Settle down. All right, we've got a Ferris wheel. Great. Who doesn't love a Ferris wheel? We have a musical animatronic show with multiple versions of Pauline Phoenix, park mascot. It's excellent. It's so good.
That might be one I'd skip, personally.
And then I wanted to talk about the haunted house last, because this is not to be glossed over. The haunted house is the actual place where Barney decides that he is going to spend his time and stay the night when he has decided that he does not want to live in his family's roof for a while. And where a lot of the interpersonal dynamics sort of come to play.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to say that any of this is like direct parodies of Disney attractions, even though there's like a 1-to-1 Haunted Mansion, Splash Mountain, Mickey's Fun Wheel. That one would be pretty on the nose. I really think that these are more just like generic theme park attractions that fit in their own way into Dead End. So I almost don't want to trivialize how cool the place is by constantly comparing it to Disney just because it's what I'm familiar with. it just helps me make a connection because I know what it's like to live in a theme park atmosphere or around it. So it's kind of like an easy connection for my head.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, it makes me wonder if I actually just started looking. If there is a map somewhere of the park, you know, like you could like buy it, I would totally get a map.
Wait, I think this exists because I could have sworn that Hamish
Does it?
talked to us about that at some
He
point.
did.
Like some
Well,
kind
he
of
said
merchandise.
there was one for the planning of it. But I don't remember if it was actually published.
I feel like I've seen at least something in the graphic novel that has it published, but I don't know if they ever made it for the show, which would be interesting to find out.
Oh.
Let us know in the comments if you've heard.
I didn't. Please filibuster. I'm just making sure that I'm not being silly and didn't just totally even see a map.
Sure. I mean, and who's to say it's not in like the first or the second graphic novel, but I'll let you flip through those things. I really like the Haunted Mansion. And I love this. I like the spooky vibes of this show a lot. Famously, I'm somebody who hates horror movies and being genuinely scared, but the spooky thing, it gets me, right? I even had to think a second about Over the Garden Wall and be like, is there kind of something delightful about living in this very creepy place? Because I don't know, I can be a little bit of a sucker for that kind of thing. And I really like all of the fun Halloween imagery that's all over the haunted house and the different types of creatures that sort of inhabit it, especially in that very first episode when you're sort of starting to understand what this world is. Again, it might be a lot to live in the haunted house itself, but in terms of being in the area, listen, I'm going to be the first person admitting myself to Phoenix Parks to check this out.
There totally was one in the book, and I found it.
Oh, amazing. Okay,
not in it wasn't in that one, but it exists. And as soon as it's loading, I can talk more about it.
Great.
Oh, and we've got one with all the different dimensions too. Let's go.
Well, I love both of those, and I'll tell you what, bro, we're on YouTube now. So if you want me to filibuster while you send those to me, I can actually go ahead and share the screen, and the YouTube audience will be able to see, and then we can narrate it for our lovely audio listeners.
The wonders of technology. Yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome. So in terms of just this general, I guess, material plane of existence, and I don't know the exact phrase that they use to refer to it, it's fun. And the very first thing I think about whenever I think about the Dead End world is the incredible, beloved musical episode that they aired in season 1. And obviously, it's not a true musical in that people are going to be singing everywhere that you go. But I just like a musical to set the scene. I feel like we got to see a lot of character and flair from that episode. So if you were just going to watch one, you know, if you're tuning in for the first time, you're wondering about Dead End, I mean, I recommend starting from the beginning because you're going to get some spoilers for sure if you hop in there.
100%.
But if you could only watch one, like if you were told, I don't have a choice, I get to pick one episode of Dead End Paranormal Park, and then that's it, I think I would pick the musical episode just because of how wickedly creative and awesome it is.
And also,
as the lead singer of Fall Out Boy.
I was just going to say that. I'm like, it's got Patrick. Oh my God, I can't remember his last name anymore. But
Stump?
Yes, Patrick Stump.
Look at me.
Was a singer as well as helped write and perform all this, or lots of the songs, something like that. We talked about it on the on our interview that we did with him. So you can check that out if you want to know more about that, because I thought that was really awesome. And
all right, here we go. I'm gonna try out our screen sharing technology for the very first time. You ready for this?
Don't accidentally pull up. Oh my God, our overlay messes it up.
Okay, that's actually hysterical.
You can take down our overlay for a second, or I don't know if you can.
Yeah, it's a good question. Wow, we're learning so much today, everybody.
You can still see it though. We've got Camelot Creek, Scare Square, Western Walkway. Oh, prehistoric pavilion. Yo, I forgot about that. That's major bonus points for me. I was a dinosaur kid. And Luna Lookout.
See, and as amazing as all of these places look, to be honest with you, I think this is very different from the show.
Yeah.
Is it purely graphic novel?
That's fair. I gave you, if you could, here, I meant to send you, did I only send you the picture?
Well, perhaps, but let me mention, like, I know that we get flares of Western Walkway and some of the dinosaur stuff at Prehistoric Pavilion. So you know what? Maybe it actually is not that far off. And I think Camelot Creek is the one with the log flume ride. So, and I also just realized they have a monorail, which is awesome.
I can't quite see it as well, but I'm gonna send you this one too.
Sure.
Because this one has all the rides that are in each thing listed as well.
Okay, that's fun. Oh yeah, look at this, some different park maps. You want to
scroll in on
explain
it?
this? Yeah. Can you explain this a little bit more for some of the audio listeners?
Explain. Oh yeah, so right here we have an actual like park map that's got the different lands, so to speak, like the different themed categories of area that we just explained. So we've got the Western Walkway, which it's a little blurry, but I'm going to try to read the rides. We've got the Cactus, Murdoch's Whale.
I feel like this might be a fruitless effort.
Yeah,
The
I
idea
don't think
that
I'm
we
going to
have
be able to read these.
the fact that we have the general lands, I think, is what speaks to it. And we're cheating a little bit again because this is not going to be one-to-one how the animated series has it.
Ooh, they have a reptile house and penguin paradise in Animal Avenue.
But it does speak to the fact that you get to live in a theme park that has some actual paranormal connection where some of this stuff is actually real. And that itself makes the idea of Dead End an especially appealing location, I think. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about living in a theme park from the perspective of somebody who's never done it?
I mean, I think this would be freaking amazing and super fun. I remember reading the book Kingdom Keepers when we were growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea of like living in Disneyland or, like a really themed theme park seems super fun to me, especially if it's got this cool paranormal stuff going on. As long as you're like part of the main group and it's not like unknown and scary because, a demon shows up and you don't know what demons are, how they work. If you're like familiar with demons and angels and the whole like landscape of how we're actually all not that different from each other and maybe we should all just get along, I think that would make it even more enjoyable. Can we get to the fact that there's a super awesome elevator in the middle of this haunted house?
I think it's time. Yeah, let's get into the paranormal stuff.
Yeah, so in the middle of this park, there's an elevator. I guess minor spoiler for like episode 1 or 2. But it essentially is an elevator that could take you to the different dimensional planes that have demons living in the lower ones and angels living in the higher ones. And I wish I could talk more about how that works, but I can't. So you better go check out the story if you want to know.
Listen, I'm happy to at least tell people what the 13 planes are. And we don't see all of them in the animated series. But we have the Divine, the Empyrean, the Paradiso, the Naraka, the Disarray, the Echoes, the Earth, the Bathmos, the Duress, the Necropolis, the Gagan, the Dudwal, and Tartarus. And I'm guessing that I pronounced at least a couple of those last couple wrong, but I'm hoping I'm close. But I think that the important thing with this, regardless of which plane you're going to, is demons are real, angels are real, and both are a very important part of what you end up getting out of this show.
And a fun thing that I saw in the book, I'm just bringing it up because it's fun. I know it technically doesn't count for our show, but I did see what looks like this universe's version of the Cthulhu, and this version's depiction of Hellraisers. Those like, the ones with the pins and stuff in their faces.
Oh man, yeah.
And I thought that was fun. And I would love to see the Cthulhu.
Okay, the Cthulhu, yeah. I'm always in for any kind of that type of flair. Look, if they started throwing some weird cryptids in there, wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
But I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Would you play the Demon World game show, of which a name I unfortunately have forgotten off the top of my head?
There's definitely a big part of me that wants to answer both ways. The stupid me in me wants to say absolutely I would, because who can resist a fun little demon game show where I might have a chance at winning money? Not to mention you get to be on TV, so you even get your ego highly gratified even if you don't win, as long as they don't make too much of a fool of you, and you can maybe die and come back to life. Oh, sorry, minor spoiler.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering if you felt like the Demon World, it's cooler to be on TV there than Earth.
Oh, I mean, for me, undoubtedly, but that might just be because it's different,
Well, and anytime that we do this exercise, that we start talking about these different worlds, I feel like you are looking for more wildness. Something to
Yeah.
really change up what
Yeah,
Earth is for you.
I loved Hilda when we talked about it, but I'm not exactly looking for like the cozy cottage to chill out in. I am looking for like something super out there, because even in Hilda, I wanted to be like a researcher and like travel the world and do a bunch of, investigations of how monsters work and how much amazing stuff there is out there. And honestly, this is a place where like it doesn't seem like that's on the table, because it seems like the only people that really know about the fact that there are demons and angels are the people in Paranormal Park. It's not like integrated into the world, um, at least as far as the cartoon goes. So I think that that's a little limiting, because part of the reason it's exciting to me is I would want to. It's tough for me to know if I would want to be like a demon and hang out with demons, or if I would want to be a human and like working with demons and working with angels and stuff like that. Never want to be an angel. Not my scene. But I think it is interesting to think about how I would want to interact with these different planes of existence. Because undoubtedly I would. I wouldn't want to just be a regular person in the world. I'd want to be, if I am in the neutral plane, I would want to be, hanging out with these people, working at this park, living in this park, whatever. Hanging out with Courtney and like, being involved in the sort of political stuff that's going on there.
Yeah, Courtney is kind of our main character demon, for those of you who aren't as familiar with the show.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters for sure. You would have such a good time at one of the demon parties.
I would have a very good time at one of the demon parties. I'd throw one of those demon parties.
You already have.
Ooh, we're not going to talk about that. Nobody knows about
You're
that.
like, I told you to simmer down. So there is an outside world, like on Earth, outside of the theme park. There's a
Yeah.
beach. There's a bowling alley.
Yeah.
If those kind of things appeal to you, you weren't that interested in, I don't know, anything super wild, you could still just go here and live the same life that you're living now.
That's true. I mean, honestly, everybody needs a day off. So, like, if you are living in this, like, hectic ghost place, you can just go to the beach or, like, go visit a family member. I mean, in our scenario, we're not taking our families with us. We are essentially creating ourselves into this new cartoon world and living there. So, it's not like we get to be there and then experience our Earth. It's like we are in dead end Earth. Our parents don't exist there. Our family doesn't exist there and stuff like that. Just to clarify.
But if we decided to be a demon, I feel like that would be, it's not impossible. I think that Courtney has explored the Earth a little bit, but I think you're likelier to be in one of the demon planes or a different plane other than Earth.
And so there's also, I also think it's important to say that the demons are like super discriminated in their like in this whole hierarchy of demons and angels. And that is something that you don't want to glorify and be like, I would want to be a demon because I think they're cool, even though they're like, heavily disadvantaged structurally in this whole societal layout. You know what I mean? And that is something that, truth be told, that is hard. Like, I am in the scenario where I am throwing this demon party, not that I could or would, theoretically speaking. Never. I'm not like that. Getting busted by the fuzz, like how maybe theoretically I would have been in college, would have been a slap on the wrist, silly white college student. But here, I'm going to like eternal damnation as a result of getting busted for whatever you get busted for. I don't know what the rules are. I've never looked at them up before. But jokes aside, that would actually suck. Like, you're throwing a party, you get busted by angels, and then instead of just like, getting a slap on the wrist or maybe even a little jail time, you are essentially locked in this like eternal prison where they change your time dilation to feel like you experience 100 years of suffering in 5 minutes. That's not very chill.
Yeah, not chill.
Not chill.
Reasonable. I mean, you've given me a lot to think about in terms of how I'm feeling about this. I
believe that.
I know that this is a place that is going to jive more with you in terms of livability. But the thing is, right, this is not a world, even from the way that it's written, where you really want to be on Earth because it's our Earth. The escapism is
That's fair.
100% within the theme park and potentially within this elevator that can take you to the different planes. And we sort of get a depiction of, if I'm going to go anywhere, I want to go over there. Like, that's where it's inclusive.
That's fair.
That's where I can find people that sort of associate with me. And I do love that. I just think that when I'm trying to pick my place, I'm going to be looking for somewhere that almost has none of the bad stuff. And that's always a tricky thing when it comes to
You're so lame.
Well, because a lot of the time, the best shows are not the ones that I'm going to want to live in because there's actual commentary. And sometimes I don't want commentary. I just want a good time.
I hate you. I disagree because I'm glad you said that, because something I was going to bring up is part of what I like to choose, how I like to decide where I'll be. Because I'm not trying to find a vacation home. I want to live, because this isn't just a place where I'm chilling. This is a place where theoretically I'm going to live and experience like a daily life thing, right? And for me, having a sense of meaning and purpose for what I'm doing there is a big deal. Part of the reason the Owl House is where I am now is because I love the fact that I could be a teacher and learn about and teach magic. You know what I mean? And whatever the field was that I was deciding to be involved in. And for this, I like the idea that I could not just hang out with like, the cast of Barney and Norma and Courtney and all these amazing people, Logs and stuff, but I really would want to fight in this battle that's happening between the realms. You know what I mean? Like I would want to, because that's part of what makes it exciting for me is like, yeah, like I don't want to see this is, I feel like right now I'm in a world where it's very difficult to feel like I can actually fight for something and people will, get on a side and you'll rally a bunch of, and it doesn't feel like there's a clear way to find victory against our oppressors. We just live in a society that's majorly fucked up. And that's just how it is. And not that you can't fight. I'm not trying to say that you can't, but it's not like in a story where you could be like, yo, I am in the battle and there is a clear goal that we can reach by the end of this novel. You know what I mean? Life is an ongoing battle and our political thing is just going to be going on and on and on in this world. But so the idea that I could maybe fight in this war to really change people's lives and stop inequality for demons and people and whatever, that's a big deal for me. That's a big part of it,
Holy cow. I feel like such a dick now. Like, sorry, not enough escapism for me. Please get me away from all of the world's problems. You all can figure those out.
I didn't mean to call you out like that.
You're like, put me on the front lines so that I can fight for what's right. And I'm just like retiring into my Disney bubble. God.
Oh, God.
Damn. All right. Well, I think that was fantastic, Luke, for real. I think that's an absolutely wonderful and valid reason to move to a place like this. I really hope you're ready. Hey, stop. Let me get out of this.
All right.
And I think that you picked Owl House before. This is the place that you've been, which I can't even say, hey, put your money where your mouth is and move, because the Owl House is also another place that has a lot of great inclusivity and other things that you can fight for what's right there.
Yeah.
But this is a little different because you wouldn't be a teacher in a really cool place. You would be actually like on the battlefield based on how you're describing it. So let's use that as a great pivot point. We are able to enter these worlds in a lot of different ways. We have a reality bender mechanism on the Animachine that could let us turn from human into something that fits the world. Like if we wanted to be a demon, it's on the table.
Yeah.
And then we kind of pick our role.
You could even be a dog possessed by a demon that gave you powers, theoretically.
But who's ever heard of that?
That's wild.
So I want to know, I mean, are we at the point? Is there anything else that you want to talk about in terms of the logistics of the world before we sort of get into verdict territory?
I don't think there's anything else that I can talk about without spoiling the third book. There are things that I wish I could, but like, in the perfect world where we've all already seen this. And you haven't either, and I don't want to spoil it for you either. So I think that's all I need to say. I think my last point is that I love this character dynamic between the main cast so much that It seems more appealing to me to be in the neutral plane than it would be to be in any of the rings of hell.
Hmm.
And part of that is because some of the rings of hell look intentionally pretty scary, all things considered. And as much as I'm down for a wild time, I think that it would be easier and more fun for me to be able to hang with these people in the amusement park scenario, but still get involved in the stuff.
Okay, I think that makes sense. So you would live there.
I think
And
I would. I'm pretty
that's
sure
the
I would.
situation you would pick. Okay, so we'll hold there. I think I would too. So I'm conflicted a little bit because I think that the outside world is designed to be a little bit dull. Like you're supposed to want to
Yeah.
go to the more fun escapist thing in the middle, which is this Pauline Phoenix Park. And then it's got this elevator, which to your point is really dangerous. So it's like I love the characters. I'm obsessed with the spookiness and how the quality of the show is not even in question, but like
Oh
I
yeah. Of
don't
course.
know if I want to, if I was there, like if I had to put myself in the situation, I would probably want to be in the haunted house or, maybe a theme park worker because I do take comfort in that. I didn't talk enough
Totally.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved working at Disney, and
Yeah.
there were days that were hard, but I enjoyed that operational feel. Like I worked at the rides and I got to do a lot of fun things
Yeah.
with it and, help onboard all of the new interns that were fresh out of high school that were like excited to be at this place that they've dreamed of working for so long. And Dead End has some of that. Norma's a
True.
super fan. She is what I was when I walked into Disney World for the first time trying to work there,
Yep.
and she's so excited about it. And so the appeal is there, but it's so one-to-one. Like it's the same, it's such a similar thing, but I don't have that same kind of attachment to Pauline Phoenix as I do to the Walt Disney World theme parks and stuff. And I don't think that I'd be that. I would love to see the planes, but I think that I would get chewed and spit out there. Like I feel like they would take one look at me and be like, "Oh, this guy, this is gonna be fun."
That's fair.
So my best case scenario is being with all these awesome, nerdy people that are at this place that they love to work at and can sort of bond over that experience. And I've kind of done it, and I moved.
That's fair. That's a good point. You've been there already.
And also to your point about vacations, I also moved to a place that was more of a vacation spot, thinking that it would be livable,
Yeah.
and I did sort of regret that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be stubborn about that in the future either. I think that there are places where it seems like, wow, this would be super fun to go live in, and it may actually not be as fun. I'm trying to think of a place that we've already talked about that sort of has that. Maybe even like Wonderland or Neverland, where the
Okay.
place
For sure.
itself is
For sure.
really fun, but it may not actually be that livable in practicality.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that I would not live here, but I love that Barney found the identity that he needed in these people in this place for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So your ultimate verdict is no, you would not live in Paranormal Park.
Not because it's terrible. I mean, to be fair, I'd say it's fine. Like it wouldn't. It's just that it wouldn't be that different from what is already here.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to move there. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I've never lived in a theme park before, and that is part of a draw for me because that would be hella fun for a long time.
And it was fun. You would enjoy it for quite a while, and the vibes fit you so well. So I definitely understand.
And there is a volcano cinema, which means I can even run the movie theater.
See, it is fun. Listen,
Perfect.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna change my no. I would live here.
Yeah.
But it's like right on the line, and I think that
Okay.
I've telegraphed that I don't think that I would move from the digital world, which was my childhood dream. And I do get to fight on the front lines there, but for not as noble of a reason. I'm just fighting for the internet safety.
Wow. I gotta ask you then. And I'm just going to make this a Disney World question. It's slightly unrelated because we don't have the infinite amount of questions for the rides. There's like a fairy tale cottage, I guess. There are things that you could live in. But in Disney World, what did you have a specific ride that you thought would be the most fun to work at?
That's an excellent question. So here's what you all need to know. Just because you like a ride does not mean that it is fun to work. Okay?
That's
And
fair.
I have said this on some podcasts before. It's hard for me to keep track.
Yeah.
I worked at Space Mountain. Everybody's number one ride that they name. Everybody wants to work at Space Mountain. Didn't like it. It's dark, and it sort of like fosters a very cold atmosphere as a result.
Yeah, you're always indoors. You get no sunlight.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Tomorrowland Speedway, out in the sun, smells like gas, an attraction that barely anybody likes except for little kids. And I had an amazing time. That was my dead end. You know, that was my place where I bonded with people and we were in this experience together. And I felt very at home. So you never know. I think a lot of people want to work at Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. And for a while, look, I'll throw it out there. There were some management issues that a lot of people I know complained about that are gone now. But for a while, it was like, just because those are rides that you like doesn't mean that they're going to be fun. And I'll also say this. If you work at a ride with fast passes, you are probably going to have a much worse day than the people who do not have to deal with that.
I thought they can fast passes. Aren't those gone now?
Well, now it's called Genie Plus, but don't get me into that, please. There's still fast passes somehow. The important thing is that it is a rule that these low paid employees are forced to like enforce all day and just wear themselves down with people arguing with them. And that's the problem. So I recommend working at a place like the Tiki Room or perhaps the Country Bear Jamboree. You know, the rides that are actually pretty low key. I should say that I am not the only person with opinions on this. Some people that I know thought Space Mountain by far will forever be their favorite place that they ever worked.
Sure. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with when you're like, the thing that you did when you were young is often the most fun thing that you'll do. You know what I mean? Like when you go in with the fresh perspective, like if Space Mountain's the first place you work, you might remember it really fondly because those are the memories associated with you being really enthusiastic and not burn out already.
That's a great point. And I have fond memories of Toy Story Midway Mania, which was my first attraction that I worked when I barely knew anything, even though that was a high volume, very busy attraction with a lot of fast passes.
I need to ask, do you know anything about the Animal Kingdom and if that would be fun? Because I feel like I would love to work in like the safari one. Or the Expedition Everest, because both of those are like my favorites.
Yeah, I worked in Animal Kingdom and would swear by it being the best place.
Let's go! Animal Kingdom!
I loved it. I had so much fun there. And
That's awesome. What did you do in Animal Kingdom? I don't remember.
I worked at two rides that are no longer there, Primeval Whirl and Triceratops Spin.
I do remember that. Wow, of course they're the dinosaur ones. That's what I would love.
No, I like the low-key rides, you know. I don't like being stressed at work. I'm just gonna, you know.
Yeah, no, that's
understandable. But I am somebody who gives it my all. I'm not there to just take the lazy ride. I put my heart and soul into whatever ride it is.
Hey, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking the lazy ride. You know, put me in the lazy river.
The thing is, when you pour your heart and soul into something that a lot of people don't take seriously, you're like, wow, this person is amazing. When you put your heart and soul into a really stressful place, it just runs you dry.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of liked the smaller ones. Thanks for letting me go on this tangent. This is like the appropriate time to do it.
Well, that's why, I mean, and a lot of people are love hearing stories about people who worked at Disney World because there's not really many experiences like it. Like, sure, you could work at other theme parks, but y'all, you don't understand. Disney World is kind of built different for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that for that reason alone, not just the mystique around it, but there are also lots of people that are like, tell me the bad stuff that Disney doesn't want me to know. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you one thing that Disney has been more open about in recent years, but for a long time held pretty close to their vest. And that is that there are utilidors or tunnels underneath the Magic Kingdom where all of the cast members funnel through. And wait for it, Dead End Paranormal Park parodied this in episode 4 or 3 of their show. And I went wild on the reaction episode that we did.
That's right. Which might not exist anymore. Well, maybe I'll keep the Dead End ones up because I love Dead End.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and because obviously we are now moving fully away from reactions and I'm back on YouTube. We finally found this perfect happy medium that both of us we're looking for to kind of keep this channel alive finally the way that we both want to. And
exactly.
I'm so excited about that.
This is more exciting. This is the way that we love doing it. Regardless of if it's going to get big numbers, this is the art that we're proud of making. So you know what? This is what we're here for.
Absolutely. And let me just ask, because we talked about these underground tunnels at Dead End, this is also where we meet the mascots that are alive. And I wonder how you would feel about interacting with those guys.
Nope. I'm glad nope, not living there. Nope, not moving. Screw that. That's where I draw the line, dude. Also, there was a weird puppet thing where Pauline possessed dolls. All that is off the table for me. You put me in the freaking movie Saw, and I'm chilling. But the minute you put a possessed doll or mascot in front of me, I am out. I am not into that on any level, dude.
That's so funny to me. So at the end of the day, too creepy for you. I mean, I know that you would still live there, but like, does this mean you're not going to leave the Boiling Isles for Dead End Paranormal Park?
No, I won't. I love the Boiling Isles. That's going to be a tough one for me to want to move out of. Which is going to feel weird since the YouTube people won't have seen those. Again, let us know in the comments if you want us to upload those as members only. Because I don't want to upload them normally because the algorithm is annoying and it'll get mad at us for doing a non-visual medium. But you know, let us know. But for now, yeah, I think I've got to stay promptly in the Boiling Isles as a teacher in the college.
All right, I think that's fair. To the point that you just said, just reminding everybody, if you do want to hear earlier episodes, they are available anywhere for free that you listen to your podcast. If you would like to listen,
but members will also get early cuts.
That's true.
So if you don't want to use another platform and you want to contribute just a little bit to us, you'll get these early too on YouTube.
Great. Yeah, that sounds perfect. And dang, I think that we're there. Should we tease what's coming up next week? Do we know what's coming up next week?
I don't know what's coming up next week. Everyone leave your comments with the different things that you want to cover on YouTube or want us to cover in terms of places that we can go.
Yeah, so this is Jester Bros Cartoon Travelers, as we have now rebranded it, the show that we're doing where we talk about whether we would live in a place. But I think that the idea of other podcast episodes that deal with different types of subject matter is on the table. So I don't want to say what we're doing next week because I think that we'll talk about it.
Deal. Yeah, that sounds good to me. So keep an eye out for the next one that we'll do because we are going to do another one.
Yep. And Dead End fans, go buy Hamish Steele's third graphic novel of Dead Endia.
Absolutely. It is wonderful. And get all of them if you haven't seen all of them, if you haven't read all of them, or check out the show. If you also are listening to all of these without knowing the shows that we're listening to, which is super fun because, you know, you don't really need to have seen any of the shows to watch this all the way through.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to do them spoiler free. You know, maybe this is a good moment to recommend that this is something that you'll enjoy and can check out. So, yes. Love this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We're back, man. This is the right way. This feels good.
This is the right way. Yeah. Much love, everybody. I hope you're into this. And even if you're not, we're gonna do it anyway.
That's right. All right. Jester Bros on YouTube and together out.
Peace.
Cartoons are for everyone. I want to make that catch at some point.
Not all the time. They're not.
Well, all right. Future debate. Never mind. Right. That won't be the outro. Maybe another outro.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes.
The world is your animated circus, and we are all trapped in it. So make it fucking good.
Wow. I like it for today. Bye, everyone.
Peace.